Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and this is Marathon episode part 2. We're taking extra fine rose gold glitter in this one. I don't think I've used this before in the past. I have like 20 different glitters in my storage bin. So maybe we've used this, but this is going to be a glitter and white pigment type presentation similar to what we did last week. And if you didn't catch us last week in our last video, go back and watch that. But we're doing a marathon series. So I'm doing up to 20 projects in 2 weeks. I've got a work thing that I have to leave the workshop for a little bit, and it might be a very long time. So trying to get everything done so I can feed the YouTube algorithm so we can keep growing this channel. So gonna mix up this rose gold, put a little bit of pigment in there, get this all nice and swirly like. We got about a liter of resin on this one. Gonna give this a good quick stir, and then we're gonna pour it in our little cup here. Doing smaller projects, usually if you go back and you wanna see larger projects, go back and watch some of my other videos, but this one we're just working on technique and working on just doing different smaller type of projects. So from here probably to the end of the year, we're just going to do smaller projects only to keep the algorithm going, keep the channel going, and these are a little bit quicker, but they're still fun projects to make. Like I said, every little project is a little bit different. Every one is like a different fingerprint. It always has its unique challenges and looks to it. So we will definitely be doing a project like this in the future in a larger capacity. So 4.5 hours in the pressure pot, got this out. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Love the whole swirling effect. The glitter absolutely pops. Really love the way this looks. So gonna get this onto the lathe, gonna put our waste block on it and then get everything done. And I actually had come back, didn't realize that I had already filmed this portion of it, so the editing is a little bit wonky. But in case you didn't catch it, the previous 20 seconds ago, here's another look at it before we put the waste block on. So we're gonna throw that piece of pine on there like we typically will do. Get everything glued down real nice and neat. I love my glue gun. This is probably my favorite tool in the wood shop. So get that all nice pressed down. Make sure that's adhesed because you don't want to be stingy with your wood glue. So or your hot glue. So getting the screws put on like we usually would do. That one fell right into place. That was cool. Didn't notice that. This is actually the first time that I'm watching this. So I finished this up in March of 2022. You guys are probably watching this in July or August of 2022. And getting this screwed down onto the lathe, give it a nice spin, and then we're going to start the lathe up and get everything going. So before we started, like I said in the last video, I am doing a marathon. So I'm trying to do like 20 projects in less than 2 weeks. So this is project number 2. This is from the previous video. So if you went back and saw last week's video, that was the mess from the last one that we did. Now we're going to get this spun down and make even more shavings into the workshop there. So if you guys have ever done any kind of woodworking, any kind of wood turning, epoxy, just woodworking projects in general, you know how messy these things are, and we're getting good shavings off on this one already, so you can just know how much material is coming off. And you guys know if you want to clean up your workshop after doing some of these projects, it takes forever, and time is of the essence, unfortunately, so I really have to hurry up and get these done. So that's kind of why I left the wood shop a little bit messy. Typically what I like to do is clean up after every single project. However, time just isn't permitting, unfortunately. So you guys are going to get to see what multiple projects look like on the floor, so that'll be fun to clean up a little bit later on. So once we got that superficial layer off, now we're just coming back with the parting tool and gonna start turning it over to make a mortise. You guys seen me do this before in the past, and you can see the size of this project. It's not very big, it's very small, not one of the larger projects that we typically do. And like I said, we're going to be doing smaller projects here into probably the end of the year. Hopefully I come back before the end of the year and we can do a little bit bigger projects, but in the meantime right now we're just trying to get this done. So getting really good material off. You can see the good clean shavings that were coming off on this one. Mortise sizing that up, coming back and forth with the smaller carbide tool, just trying to get a feel for how large we want this to be. And we're just cleaning it up a little bit there. You don't want to make the mortise too large. So once we got the mortise to the size that we want, now we're going to take the screws out, get everything flipped over, reverse it on the chuck. This is what it looks like. Not too big, obviously. This is a little bit smaller than the one that we did last week. But now we're just going to start working off that pine board because we don't need that anymore. And we're just taking the large bowl gouge there, taking multiple tools, flipping between that, the large round carbide tool, and the square carbide tool that you'll see here in a little bit. Bam, right there. There it is. A little bit easier to get the material worked off. I really like hitting it on that hot glue. When the hot glue is stuck there, you can really feel that on the chisels, and it just like accumulates a little bit differently. So kind of like the way that does. So then I just decided to finish it off with the square carbide and just, whoop, 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 layer by layer, bit by bit, getting that all done. So now we're just getting that superficial layer put on the way that we usually will do, cleaning it up a little bit, and now we're going to start the gouging portion of it. And you can see already we're getting really good ribbons. Like I said, we're doing just mostly epoxy projects from here on out for the rest of the year. We might come back and do some wood projects if we have time, but right now we kind of don't. So I had a little bit of trouble getting this started initially. I was getting a lot of just squeakiness on the chisel. So I was working a little bit different angle on this one, coming back and forth, just deciding on where it was, coming out easier. And I think here in a little bit, I'm going to switch back to the round carbide tool just to even everything out, and then come back and hitting it again with the large bowl gouge, because we did have a little bit of an issue. And you can see here, once we got everything evened out, it pretty much cut through like butter, and now we're just trying to get to a nice depth that we like. And then we'll just start working the side edges, getting it a little bit more even. And you can see all the good shavings and ribbons there on my hand, or where the tip of the chisel is. You can really see that the material is working real nice. And then we're just, slowly taking it layer by layer off. Now we start working the bottom lip of the bowl, trying to get it to the depth that we want to. And you don't want to be too aggressive with this, because obviously you don't want to hit the bottom of the mortise, and then you'll have, real issues. And I think I say that in pretty much every project, because there have been instances where I have gone all the way through the mortise. If you want to see that, go back, watch some of my other videos. You can really see I've come a long way in my woodworking skills. So here we are, just taking some of the finer detail work. Here's the inside of it, and now we're just taking that lip, working the finer edges of it, and then coming back and forth with the round carbide tool, just really trying to get a feel to where we are, trying to get it to a nice depth, because we don't have a lot of material to work with. You really have to take your time on these, because you will end up messing up the bowl project if you just get a little bit too aggressive with it. And the great thing about these smaller projects is they do go by a little bit faster, but the aesthetic of them look really good once you get the sanding done, which everybody knows it's almost sanding time, and I love sanding. Just kidding, nobody loves sanding. So like I said, back and forth between the medium and large size round carbide tools, getting a feel for it with my hands, seeing where we're at. And now we're done, and we got it to the size that we want. And here is what the garage looks like after project number 2 is completed. The lathe is absolutely covered with epoxy. The bottom of the floor is covered with epoxy. I'm probably covered in epoxy at this point. And now we just have to do the sanding portion of it here. So try to clean up the workbench, and by clean up, I just mean I took a brush and just got as much off the workbench as possible. So 340 all the way up to 1500. Then we're going to come back and hit it with a micro mesh at 1500, after 1500. And here we go, a little bit of wet sanding. This goes by a lot smoother when you're doing just smaller projects like this. So that's about the only good thing about doing these smaller projects like this, is that the sanding goes by a little bit quicker. So here we are, going to hit it with that wood wax that I love to use, wood polish. Trying to get my paper towels over here to cooperate. So getting that all nice, neat, polished up, seeing how it goes. Bam, there it is. Now we're just going to turn on the lathe and just get that nice polish to it. And overall, really happy the way this turned out. Like I said, this is marathon project number 2. You guys are watching this in the summer of 2022. Like I said, we got 18 more projects to get done before I leave. So hopefully we get there. So hope you guys liked the project. If you did, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. All that other fun stuff that we typically say as YouTubers. And I will see you guys in the next project. On to project number 3. Peace. Alright, so project is done, and this is marathon lap number 2. finished. Today is, oh my gosh, 13th of March 2022. You guys are probably watching this in the summer. Probably July, August, we're starting to get into that. I'm trying to get the, like I said in the commentary, trying to get these done for the whole year in less than 2 weeks because I've got to work things. So this little guy turned out really good, not a whole lot of issues. Really love the color on these, and I'm sure I've said this dozens of times. You're going to hear this throughout this marathon. I'm going to come back and do these better and bigger. So hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys got something out of it. Not a whole lot of issues, just like the other ones. But man, really cool colors though. Really love how this looks. So hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe. Go back and watch the other marathon. This is going to be a whole series leading up until probably December, January of 2023. So hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it. Hope we make it to the finish line. And I'll see you guys in the next project. Peace.